Greetings and welcome to our show, Fresh Geek Context. It is here we discuss insightful views on a routine bi-weekly basis over the incredibly nerdy things we can't stop talking about. To take you on this dorky ride are your host, Josh.
Hello, chaps.
And myself, Jay. So why don't you take a seat, sit back, relax. We're here to do all the heavy lifting. It's about to get nerdy. This is episode 8.
Harry Potter.
Is it?
I mean, it can be.
But we did just see an awesome movie last Friday.
We did, and for those listening out there, its name was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
What a mouthful.
Yeah, it's the new entry in the Harry Potter franchise.
Yes, sir.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's appropriate. And punny.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get into it, or not? What is it?
We'll save that for later.
Oh boy, what did I do?
We're gonna get to the news first.
What's over there? Come on, what's in the box?
It's not a box, ladies and gentlemen. It's a computer. Let's see what we got here. Okay, here we are. We're gonna talk about comic movie news first.
Is it bad?
Well, you tell me. Marvel Inhumans Becoming TV series will premiere first in IMAX. This is from ScreenRant.com, by the way.
Okay, I'm listening because I want to hear about that, but then I want to talk about something else.
What you got?
Well, episode 7, we had 4T on.
Oh, yes, we did.
We talked about anime, and of course, because we talked about it, lo and behold, Ghost in the Shell trailer drops right after.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, that's going to be interesting. So how about this? Let's talk about Inhumans, then yeah, okay. So, this is what it says from ScreenRant.com. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has been expanding ever since the release of Iron Man in 2008 over the last 8 years, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to skip along here. Earlier this year, it seemed ABC was cutting down on Marvel content, canceling Agent Carter, which I love tremendously.
Me too, so good.
After 2 seasons and failing to move forward with a number of projects, including the Phil Coulson show.
Just call it by its proper name.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spinoff. Ugh. Marvel's Most Wanted, which whatever.
I'm still mad that they got, what's her name right now? Oh my god, I'm forgetting their names right now. But essentially, the 2 characters that were so freaking awesome in that show, they got rid of them because they wanted to spin them off, and then the spin-off never happened.
You mean Bobby and Hunter?
Bobby and Hunter. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay.
I love them so much. I hope they come back somehow.
But I think they needed to be on the show. I don't think they were that popular to have their own show.
Exactly. I didn't think so either. But to them being supporting characters in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I thought they were really, really awesome. So I hope somehow they bring them back. But go ahead, continue.
Yes, okay. And then there's also the comedy series that was mentioned sometime early this year and a little bit of last year. It was a comedy series known as Damage Control, which I thought was an interesting concept, where the people would come in and it was based around the mess and the cleanup that happened after, destruction happened. And a particular movie like Age of Ultron or, in the TV series as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, let's see here. I'm just going to skip right to the good stuff. Marvel and ABC have announced plans to launch a new show based on Inhumans, debuting the first 2 episodes in IMAX at the beginning of September 2017. The episodes will screen worldwide for 2 weeks ahead of a TV premiere. However, rather than follow Inhuman characters already established in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the MCU show has dealt with Inhumans since Season 2. The new series will explore the never-before-told epic adventure of Black Bolt and the royal family. Yeah?
This definitely sounds like what the Inhumans movie was going to be, and I guess they're just turning it into TV form.
Now,
go ahead.
Because I'm ready for this.
I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited about this. Inhumans was definitely one of the movies in Phase 3 originally that I was excited for. And then it got pushed back, of course, once we got Spider-Man in there. And then And then drama happened, I guess.
I want to say it got conveniently pushed back. Conveniently.
Conveniently. So,
Because they could have just extended Phase 3. There's nothing saying that Phase 3 had to end with, Infinity War or Inhumans. But it got pushed into Phase 4. And the reason why I believe it got pushed into Phase 4 is because the Phil Coulson and Friends show started experimenting and telling the story of the Inhumans before its time. I don't think, you and I have had this conversation before.
yeah.
I really don't believe that was supposed to happen, and I find this story interesting because I don't know how to respond to this.
I mean, they definitely started, talking Inhumans way before, the movie was supposed to come out, of course. Like, that
Did
was
they,
given.
though?
I mean, so when was Inhumans originally scheduled for? 2018, 2019, something like that?
Sure, absolutely.
And again, it was supposed to be part of Phase 3. Then a movie called Civil War happened, and even
Right.
before Civil War. But Civil War had a nice new little character that we got from Sony called Spider-Man. And of course, they put a Spider-Man movie into Phase 3 just so they can, go along with that. Which I think that was always there. Like, they had that. They just didn't announce it when they announced Phase 3 because obviously they were still in negotiations.
Of course.
But I feel like they did have a roadmap already with Spider-Man attached in it for Phase 3.
I think they had multiple routes that they could take if
Exactly.
plans go through. But let me ask you a more important question.
Yeah.
When did the Agents of Shield show start?
So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started in 2013, I want to say. It was a year after Avengers 1 came out.
Exactly. And when did the announcement for Phase 3 come out with Kevin Feige on stage?
Was that 2013 as well?
I want to say maybe it was a little bit after. I don't know if it was season 1 actually.
It might have
But
been...
It couldn't have been 2014. Well, maybe it was 2014.
It was 2014 because...
A couple of episodes ago, we were discussing this at length
with Doctor Strange.
For Doctor Strange movie review. Exactly. It was definitely 2014. But now here's the thing: when did the Inhumans start getting announced? This all happened after that announcement.
Yeah, so Inhumans debuted season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it didn't debut until the second half. Pretty much.
And again, this is just my theory. This is I call it like I see it. And again, who knows, Josh? I may be wrong, but it seems very convenient that you're picking up interesting new stories that just come literally out of nowhere. To me, it came out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, I got interested at that time, but the story with the Inhumans in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. never really panned out the way I would have liked to. Partially because you and I both know that the Inhumans that you and I would love to see that was supposed to be in the movie, which is never going to happen anymore, by the way, after this.
No, it's not.
Which was supposed to be for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not for TV. So now we're just going to introduce these nameless Inhuman people that are just figuratively and literally thorns in our sides.
Well, they're not all nameless. Remember, you have to eat, as much as you want to call it the Phil Coulson show and all that. Remember, Daisy Johnson, Quake, she is a big part of the Inhumans, and she's played by Chloe Bennett on that show.
She is not who I'm referring to. I'm talking about all the other people that they catch. They
the other
no
people,
one like
sure.
they're making up characters, and I don't feel like Marvel needs to do that. But you have to admit that show, to me, and again, you and I have had this conversation before, that show is the weakest link because it almost feels like they're fishing for ideas to make that show good. I mean, but listen, I can't knock it because it's in season 4 already.
Exactly. So it's done something.
It has done something, but I mean, so let me read on. I digress. Let me read on. Okay. Of course, the Inhumans was originally planned as part of the movie side of the MCU, which we discussed, which was slated for its release in 2018. So we were off by 1 year. It was pushed to 2019, which you were correct in that statement. When Marvel Studios and Sony struck a deal, we should actually be writing this because we were correct in all of our statements. However, during the fall of 2015, reports arose that Marvel Studios quietly canceled the Inhumans, and I somehow, do you remember that conversation I had with you, Josh?
Which one?
The one where they said that, oh yeah, Inhumans is postponed indefinitely.
Oh yes, I do remember that.
Okay. Due to a feud with Marvel TV, which was just rumors, but I could see it coming. Although the reports were refuted at the time, which is what you said, the Inhumans film was officially pulled from the Marvel Studios release slate earlier this year. Now,
Yep.
it appears the Inhumans release date was nixed because Marvel decided to develop the property into a television series. Certainly, it seems Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige may have been hinting at such a change in his comments after the Inhumans was removed from the movie release slate. Feige said at the time, when and where and how the Inhumans pop up remains to be seen, but that Marvel was very much invested in the characters of Black Bolt and the royal family. So, with that all being said, what are your thoughts?
So let me put this out there first.
Okay.
I'm very excited about Inhumans. I've been excited since they were first announced. And I was bummed when they canceled the movie or postponed it, and then I was bummed when they took it off the list completely. However, I'm more than excited to see this TV show happen. However, I am very, very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Perplexed.
Perplexed, that would be a good word, yeah.
Yes, perplexed.
About this decision. I don't know why they would just say, you know what, screw it, we're not doing the movie, we're just going to turn it into a TV show. Like, I don't get what the point of that is.
I could tell you why. It's Kevin Feige saying, listen, I wanted to do the movie. I really, really wanted to do the movie. You guys screwed it up. Kinda, sorta. You kinda screwed it up. And so we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. But you better pray to hope that you have enough content to last a whole television series. That's what this seems like to me.
So here's the thing though. Now, do you think that Kevin Feige is doing this, or do you think it's Marvel TV that's just like, all right, hey guys, you keep postponing Inhumans, just give the whole thing to us? Who do you think is in charge of this right now?
I think this is what I think. I think Kevin Feige is finally realizing that he has to deal with the elephant in the room that is Marvel television.
Right.
He has to. It may have been, an oversight at one point in time where he said, okay, yeah, TV guys are going to do their stuff. I'm still going to make these movies because, number one, they're entertaining. It makes the fans happy. It makes the actors happy. And it makes investors happy.
Sure.
Everyone is happy. And so, now we have this TV side that's growing in popularity. And, again, I can only speak from my personal opinion. But, I mean, really, the Netflix series that have been, appearing with Daredevil, with Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and it's going to be Iron Fist next year, and eventually The Defenders, that is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, people are watching that show, and, they're making multiple references, not a lot, but they're making references to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, respectfully.
Right.
But then there's the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and, they're making all of these references, hey, here come the agents, and we're trooping all over the world, and they're never mentioned at all. And they've been talking at length, ad nauseum, about the Inhumans. The Inhumans this, the Inhumans that. So it's this is what I feel like Kevin Feige said, alone in his boss-ass mansion. I either deal with this now, or I ask ABC to cancel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I don't think that the option to cancel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to happen. So he's now creating a partnership with Marvel Television saying, we're having our movie writers do this, and we're going to create the story. And I would like you very much to work with me on this so we can have some continuity moving forward, so there's no questions about what you guys are doing, what we're doing. Each hand kind of knows what the other, you know, is doing.
Sure. And I mean, I hope that what you just said is right in whatever sense. I'm hoping that it is Kevin Feige going, hey, I need to deal with this. Like, I understand that this is starting to become really big.
It's a
I
thing.
need to somehow deal with this because I was not planning for all this stuff to happen. I just planned out my universe. I did not plan out this other corner that's been growing and growing and growing.
Okay, so let me just say this: if Agents of Shield never had mentioned the Inhumans, do you really think that the Inhumans movie would have been canceled?
Honestly, probably not.
That's what I'm saying.
And you know, I love the show, but yes, if Agents of Shield had not ever dove deep into the Inhumans, I feel like we wouldn't be having this conversation at all.
Absolutely, and
And
and you
everything
want
would be on track.
it would absolutely be on track. This would be a non-issue. What I find very interesting about this whole story is not, hey, we're going to make an Inhumans TV show. It's not that. It's not. We're not making an Inhumans TV show featuring Black Bolt and the royal family, which I remember reading as a kid. Believe it or not, I
Yeah,
have the first issue, or the first appearance of the Inhumans in the Fantastic Four.
yeah,
Really old comic. But I know of Black Bolt. I know of his power because I was just like, man, this dude's badass. The guy can talk, but if he talks, he's gonna wipe out the planet. Like,
mm-hmm.
I was like, that's a crazy power.
Yeah.
I could really appreciate that. But what I find the most interesting part of the story is the fact that the first two episodes are appearing in IMAX before the television release.
Which I have a theory.
What's the theory?
So I think they said it's the first two episodes or the first episode.
First two episodes.
So the first two episodes. How much do you want to? All right. How much do you want to bet that this show is going to be like Agents of Shield and like the other Netflix shows? They're an hour each, right?
Right.
First two episodes. You figure that's a roughly around 2 hours, right?
Right.
Roughly the amount of time for a movie.
Right.
How much do you want to bet that the first quote unquote 2 episodes is literally what the Inhumans movie was going to be, and then the rest of the quote unquote episodes are like just whatever?
And it appears before Infinity War. Like, that script is gonna have to change.
I'm,
See, you
see
what
what
I'm
happens.
saying?
But I'm pretty sure this is why it's going to be in IMAX as well. Why they didn't just do it in regular theaters, who knows? But this is also why it's going to be in IMAX, because I really feel like it's literally the Inhumans movie that they're going to show, but it's just going to be, TV budget and all that stuff. But I really feel like this is the Inhumans movie that we were gonna get, and then subsequent episodes from that point forward, they're just gonna write whatever.
So I have a few questions that I'm pretty sure you're not gonna be able to answer it because unless you work for Marvel, you haven't told me until
Unless
now.
I'm Kevin Feige.
Don't tease me now. My question is, are the people in the cast inside Agents of Shield going to appear on that show?
I would
Because
love for them to.
here's the dick move that I could see them doing.
Oh, they probably won't.
Here's a dick move that I see them doing.
Yeah.
That Inhumans actually becomes so successful that it cannibalizes Agents of Shield and that gets canceled. I'm telling you, dude. It's like this is awesome, but
That
weird.
would be a huge dick move.
But it might happen, Josh. It really might happen.
I don't know, but I really hope that they cross over in some capacity for sure, because again, as much as you may not have liked the Inhumans thing and stuff like that, there are a lot of people that are like, hey, they introduced Inhumans, they introduced this new corner, right?
Poorly. Poorly.
Not in the best way.
Poorly.
All
It's
right.
just poor. I mean, it's poorly.
All right, fine, it's poorly, but they got the gist of it right. You know that the Inhumans came from from aliens and stuff like that. So they got the gist of it. You know, obviously they didn't get it exactly, or they didn't get it like exactly how Kevin Feige might have wanted it, but they introduced it. That's it. That's all we can say. They introduced it.
And here are some other questions now that comes up from this, because Marvel TV wasn't making the call to say like, oh yeah, we're gonna have the first 2 episodes appear in IMAX. Marvel TV wasn't. Jeff Loeb wasn't making that decision. That's Kevin Feige. I don't care what anybody says.
No, that is a completely Feige move.
Right. And so
Jeff Loeb doesn't have, as much as Jeff Loeb has been doing great with all the Netflix series and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he could not have made that call.
Exactly. And now here's the other situation that we have. You and I both know that there was a specific person who was in mind by the heads of Marvel to play Black Bolt.
Right.
And that person already exists inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Although he's limited to 3 words.
He's only limited to 3 words. And his name is Vin Diesel, and he appears in the Guardians of the Galaxy series as the wonderful character Groot. So the news and the rumors on the street was he was supposed to play Black Bolt, which would have been funny, because here is a guy that's a big action superstar that says 3 words as one character and says no words as the other one.
Mm-hmm.
There is no chance. I haven't read anything on this as of this recording anyway. Sure. There is absolutely no chance that Vin Diesel is going to take a pay cut to appear on a television series, Josh. It's not happening. It's off the table. Unless what?
Unless Kevin Feige doesn't give him a pay cut, tells him that this show is actually going to appear in IMAX.
But he has to appear in 23 other episodes. And the filming, scheduling, the timing, it's not going to work.
Unless Black Bolt dies at the end of the first 2 episodes.
Definitely not happening. I'm telling you right now. That's definitely off the... Vin Diesel's out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
He's probably. I was just trying to make a joke. No, he's probably not going to be attached to it at all.
He's out. He's totally out. So they're going to cast a no-name dude.
Clearly.
To
either no name or somebody somebody TV name.
Listen, unless somebody can prove to me otherwise, whoever's listening out there, if you believe, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Was not responsible for the mishap and the confusion that was the Inhumans movie, then please, by all means, contact me, let me know, tell me. But I think that this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s fault.
So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not, because clearly Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had some type of impact for this to all happen. What I think this is honestly Kevin Feige. I'm sorry, Kevin, I love you. Please don't kill me for what I'm about to say. But I feel like this is Kevin Feige being a child and saying, I wanted to do Inhumans. I wanted to be there first. I wanted to do this. They went and did their own thing. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make my own TV show and make my own thing. And I'm going to have it be better than what you did.
I can agree to that.
And I feel like, and you know what? I feel like this isn't Marvel TV that's developing this. This is Kevin Feige.
I think this is Kevin Feige with Marvel TV. I think that's...
I don't think so.
Really?
I feel like this is all Feige. And how much do you want to bet that this show will have way more connections to the MCU than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or any of the Netflix shows will have?
Of course. See, and that's really what we have to see in the the upcoming episodes. Will this include other characters from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Netflix? Like, is there a super deal on the table that says no matter what show you appear on, no matter what network you appear on, this is going to be the platform that will get you to the movies? That would be the landmark deal next to Sony, because there's so many different questions and loopholes. Like, I have questions that were not answered, like funding. Who's funding this? Is it Marvel? Is it is it Disney? Is it ABC? Like, who is funding? Who is responsible for all of this?
Probably Marvel, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I would love to, see if we could follow up on this, in later episodes because they're fast tracking this, dude. If
They
they're
are.
if they're going to be using IMAX cameras, those cameras are no joke. As a matter of fact, after watching Doctor Strange, I was, just doing a little bit of research for myself into knowing what kind of goes into the process in making a 3D movie for IMAX because those cameras are huge. And so, if they're going to be making a movie, they have a script, so you're probably right in that regard. For they're using the script that they had, making small minor tweaks,
Right.
so they can make the movie now. But they have to be casting now. They have to be hiring people now, so they can start filming next year and get all of the special effects done in time so they can premiere in September. Like, this is next year, dude. We have less than a year to do all of this. This is not a game.
Yeah. No, they are fast tracking the heck out of this.
So, I mean, I'd like to see what happens, honestly. I hope it turns out well. I wish them well, and I really hope we get to see more connectivity. But I really wouldn't be surprised at the end of this if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. gets canceled.
I mean, I hope not, because they're doing really really well this season. So with the whole Ghost Rider stuff, so we'll see.
We'll see. And so now we segue from the weird and unusual Ghost Rider to the weird and unusual android.
Cyborg.
From a wonderful trailer. Cyborg. A cyborg android? What's the difference?
So Cyborg is a person with mechanical parts.
You're right. An android is just
an android is technically a full
robot.
robot, yeah.
Like C-3PO. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's cyborg.
Yeah.
Cybernetic unit, if you will. Anyway, the Ghost in the trailer, Ghost in the Shell.
The ghost in the trailer.
The Ghost in the trailer. Let's talk about this for a second. I watched the trailer. This is another piece of information that I watched, and I didn't really know how to feel about it.
I mean, it's a trailer,
It's a trailer.
It's a trailer. No. So I kind of enjoyed it. I really, really did. Watching it I was kind of wondering how they were going to do, like, the stealth suit and things like that. So we got a glimpse of her in that suit at the very beginning, and it's kind of cool because IGN did a Ghost in the Shell anime trailer versus comparison type thing. So they had a lot of shots from the movie, side by side with the live action version. And when she drops from the building and drops down, that way she can go infiltrate everything. Like, that was almost like a 1-for-1 type shot deal, and the suit looked pretty cool there. And then of course when she's also fighting the guy in like that water area, where she also has the suit on there, it looked pretty legit. Obviously it's toned down a lot more than it was in the anime.
What do you mean?
They're covering the lady parts.
Naked.
Yeah, they're covering the lady parts.
Gotcha.
So it's like an actual suit. It's like an actual suit, not like just whatever
Bodysuit.
Yeah, exactly.
So wait, is this rated PG-13 or is it R? Is it the medium where we could be violent enough to be PG-13 but not be R? Is it that?
I mean, I think this is PG-13.
I'm going to safely assume it's PG-13.
I'm going to safely assume it's PG-13.
Okay.
Which is, even if it was R, I don't think they would have certain things in it, but I'm pretty sure it's PG-13.
Yeah, we're adults, so we don't have to worry about this.
Exactly, we don't care. But as for the rest of the trailer, it looks really good. The effects look really cool. I do like the way Scarlett Johansson looks. I know a lot of the big complaints were that they casted a white actress to play this role. In all honesty, she looks really good. It's not that bad at all. The only thing that I can't really get past, which is this is every single one of her movies, so it's not like her fault or anything.
Hit me.
She just sounds like Scarlett Johansson.
That's the same thing like Queen Latifah.
Exactly. So I mean, she just sounds like herself. That's the only thing. But she can't help it. That's her freaking voice, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know, you just hear Scarlett Johansson's voice and you're like, oh, that's Scarlett Johansson. Okay, cool. But other than that, I really like the visual effects. They definitely changed from at least from what we hear her speak in the trailer. They definitely changed a little bit of the story. Like, she wants to find out about her past in this movie. It looks like.
Right.
That wasn't necessarily a big deal in the anime, from what I remember in the movie.
Right.
So they're changing that around. It looks like I wasn't sure if they were going to do what happens at the end of the movie in the Ghost in the Shell when she's fighting that big like mech robot thing.
And she like tries to rip it open and
exactly. But I mean, there was a shot of her like hiding behind a pillar getting shot at, and it looked like she was in that area. So I was like, "Oh, are we gonna see that? That's gonna be awesome!" Because I really enjoy that entire sequence. The supporting characters look really cool and everything like that. So I'm excited. Like this was just like a regular 2-minute trailer or whatever it is, but I'm pretty excited. I like the visuals of it. Kind of want to see where this story goes, taking her on her journey of finding who she is, because again, that really wasn't there in the original. But then again, the original movie is only like what? It's like an hour and something.
Right.
So there wasn't that much more to explore to it, but I'm excited. So what do you think?
So we've had discussion in past episodes before.
Sure.
I cannot judge a movie without actually seeing the movie.
Of course.
And when we see a trailer, you're seeing a complete production on its own right.
Right.
So, because for the most part, there are different groups of people who are editing the movie versus the people that edit the trailer.
Of course.
Because they have a different intent in mind. When somebody comes in and says, we need to market this movie because we're trying to get the most amount of dollars, you want to make it seem tantalizing. They want to make it seem attractive to a prospective audience, moviegoer. So, if I were to judge the trailer looks good. Is the movie going to be good? I don't know. I mean, and we've seen this so many times. I think the biggest letdown for a trailer was Star Wars Episode 3. That trailer, and I'll put the description
sure.
in the link for everyone who's listening out there.
Yeah.
When you're watching that trailer for Episode 3 in Star Wars, the feel of the movie is completely different than what you get in the actual movie.
Sure.
It is night and day, and people, you're gonna get the Star Wars fans and the critics, the heavy critics that'll say, "Oh well, Star Wars Episode 3 was the best movie out of the prequel trilogy, and it's the best that they could do." And I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
Sure.
But nevertheless, the trailer was much better than the final product that was the movie. I feel like I was completely sold on a different type of movie than I got in the actual Episode 3 trailer. And this happens all the time. So I've learned to accept this. This is just
which trailer I'm gonna say.
Which one?
Oh, that wonderful Spider-Man 3.
Man. What a letdown.
Oh, God. I remember the first teaser trailer that came out.
I got excited.
Oh my God, I was super excited. And then the first full trailer came out. I was like, this is going to be the best thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah, Sony listened to me for once. They gave me Venom.
God.
And man, what happened? I saw that in theaters, and I just remember turning around to my friends who I went to go see it with, and I said, "What is going on?"
I don't know. But let's keep it Ghost in the Shell for a little bit before we go on full Marvel. yeah. Before, because it always happens. Either I talk about X-Men or we talk about Marvel. Maybe we should just call this the Marvel podcast, right? Somehow they seep in, but yes,
they always seep in. But I mean, if you want to talk about like shot for shot comparison, you had sent me a link on YouTube where it compares the anime versus the actual trailer,
Yeah.
where they kind of recut the trailer.
Yep.
And it's almost like you didn't have to send me that, because I remember the scenes that stick out, the scenes that draw your attention to the screen
Yeah.
for the original anime. It's there.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
the guys that what they've done so far, and the trailer and the look and the feel, uh, is amazing. It's absolutely amazing, and the music that they chose for the live action movie was also good.
Yes.
And I saw Kusanagi, the major, and I also saw Batu,
Yep.
um, with the glasses, and like it looked like you saw him, and I'm like, okay, that's clearly you. I know who you are.
Right.
I didn't see Togusa, but Togusa doesn't really have a distinctive look in the anime, and I'd like to see how that kind of plays out. But again, one of the memorable fights, and I remember this fight both from the anime movie and both on the game as well, that came out way back when,
Mm-hmm.
for the original PlayStation, where you played the Fujikoma, which was the mobile tank
Yeah.
that could scale walls and shoot grenades and fire unlimited amount of bullets. It was, oh my god! You want to talk about an amazing game? We should do like a game review of that.
Okay.
We'll get you that game and see how you do in that, and
Sure.
we'll chat. But there's a level where you're gonna go through and you're trying to find like an invisible camouflaged ninja,
Right.
and your sensors don't really work, but they kind of do. So I'll say, when I watched the trailer, there was a little smile that cracked up on my face, and I know that there are people out there that are probably listening to the show that would feel a type of way around it,
Of
because
course. Yeah.
they feel like that a specific group of people are not represented. Look, I'll say this. I get it. I totally understand it. It seems a little weird to constantly have, people just completely omitted or not represented. I can get and understand that sentiment. Um because it's happened so many times before, and we can sit here and name movies upon movies upon movies, but ultimately what we want is a movie to be good. If a movie is good, it's entertaining, and it brings something to the table, and it questions your common thought process, I'm not gonna knock it. A good movie is always going to be a good movie. It doesn't matter who's in it,
Exactly.
you know. But if you're doing it for selfish reasons, and people aren't represented, then you're gonna fail every single time.
Sure.
But anybody can bring something to the character. These guys, the director, they chose Scarlett Johansson. Is it Johansson or Johansson? I always forget.
I say Johansson.
Johansson. Okay, so um, ScarJo. ScarJo was chosen, and I could kind of see it. Her eyes, big, giant, wide eyes, was one of the things that stuck out to me the most when I was watching the original movie. Those bright, bright, wide open, almost vacant eyes that you see in the movie. She kind of has that quality. So I'm hoping they do it justice. This is all I say. I'm hoping that they do it justice.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
and if it doesn't, we'll be bitching and complaining about it later. But
I
I
mean,
don't.
think of it this way: it can't be as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution, so we should be okay.
Why are you bringing that garbage up on this
Because we're talking
podcast?
about anime and we're talking about anime
That
movies.
that is not. No, I am offended.
I'm just saying, nothing can be as bad as that, so we're good.
Uh, yeah, but now, like, you've illustrated what the bottom is.
Exactly, so you can only go up.
Uh, yeah, well, let's hope. Let's hope now. Because I wasn't even thinking about terrible. I was just thinking, whatever. I'm going into this the same way I go into Suicide Squad. Because Suicide Squad,
Okay.
it was, when we started talking about making this podcast, I went into Suicide Squad with no expectations, which was hard, because you made, not you, but DC made 3 fantastic trailers with awesome music to go over it. Primarily Queen. You know,
primarily.
when you have a trailer with Queen in it, it's gonna be good. It's going to be amazing.
Well, of course.
So, I had to scale it down, and when I saw the movie, I was like, meh, it was good. It was just good.
Right,
And
exactly.
everyone's like, oh, this was terrible. I'm like, you built it up too much. That's your problem, not mine.
I set my own expectations.
I try not to watch the trailers before the movie because I kind of felt that way about Civil War, but F that. That was amazing. Thumbs up, Kevin. Man, what a good movie.
Oh my god. Anyway, but yes. Going back to Ghost in the Shell really quickly. I'm a fan of the original. I know one of my friends. He's like one of the biggest Ghost in the Shell fans. I talked to him,
How's he
and
feeling about all this?
yeah, so he's cautiously optimistic, but he felt like from what he saw in the trailer so far, he's like he's not hyped, but he's like it looks good. So he's reserving. He's kind of like you. He's reserving himself. He's like, I'm not gonna get too hyped up. I'm not gonna like watch the trailer 15,000 times in a row just to be let down. But he saw it twice, and he's like, all right, I want to go see it, and then we'll see what happens when I see it.
I agree. I feel like and this is the last part before we go to the break,
Sure.
but I feel like the only movie that I can get really the only trailers that I can see that I can get super hyped over are Marvel movies because they are just so consistent in the movie making formula. Like they
Sure.
have not let me down. So, you know, we saw what is it? Um Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yep.
That trailer was awesome. Man, I have not been excited for a trailer in a while. And so I'm waiting for that when the Doctor Strange trailers were coming out a couple months ago. Really super excited for that. And so, the next one that we're going to be seeing a couple of months, I know you're going to be super jacked, super, super, super hyped. It's going to be the Spider-Man trailer.
Well, really quickly, supposedly there are rumors that it's going to be attached to Rogue One, so we'll see.
I cannot wait.
We'll
and then
see.
after that, I'm sure, come springtime we'll finally get a teaser for Thor Ragnarok,
Sure.
which is going to be unlike anything we've seen before.
Right.
We haven't seen anything like this before. This is unlike. Oh my god. I'm not going to keep talking about this cuz I'm just going to get I want to dedicate this episode to Harry Potter. So, when we come back, we're going to talk about a little movie by the name of
Little?
Fantastic Beasts and where to find them and learning time and Harry Potter favorite moments and us geeking out.
But first,
Fresh break music by fresh artist Colton Shields. Colton, you are a breath of fresh air. Take it away, Josh.
play that music.
Welcome back to the FGC podcast. I am your charms instructor, Professor Jace.
And I am your transfiguration instructor, Professor Josh. 10 points from Slytherin.
Maybe we should just do learning time instead.
Ooh, it's gonna be magical.
Cue the music, Josh. In this episode of Learning Time, we talk about the origin and history of the Harry Potter franchise. Harry Potter is the creation of author J.K. Rowling. Rowling, a native of England, started writing her ideas for a wizard boy that went to wizard school on a coffee napkin.
The K in J.K. Rowling doesn't stand for anything.
Actually,
the K stands for Kathleen, the name of her grandmother, but she does not have a middle name.
Rowling was working as a researcher and a bilingual secretary when she conceived the idea for the Harry Potter series while on a delayed train from Manchester to London in 1990.
With the main character created, Rowling used her personal experiences and strive to create a vast world of magical people, places, and things. The first book was published in 1997, and it's been an avalanche of success ever since.
Did you know that Rowling and the title character Harry Potter share the same birthday, July 31st?
Wicked. Did you know that the original Harry Potter manuscript was rejected by 12 publishing houses before Bloomsbury picked it up?
By gosh, I did not. 5 months later, the book won its first award, a Nestle Smarties Book Prize. In February, the novel won the British Book Award for Children's Book of the Year, and later, the Children's Book Award.
J.K. Rowling went from being unemployed to becoming a multi-millionaire in just 5 years. Good show.
Harry Potter is now a global brand worth an estimated $15 billion, and the last 4 Harry Potter books have consecutively set records as the fastest-selling books in history. The series, totaling 4,195 pages, has been translated, in whole or in part, into 65 different languages.
Today, you can visit the wizarding world of Harry Potter at theme parks across the world, most notably Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, where you can experience anything from Hogwarts to the Wizarding School to the delicious butterbeer served in the 3 broomsticks.
The Harry Potter series inspires the imagination of millions across the planet in Rowling's ability to create a magically realistic world where anything is possible and good triumphs over evil. And that's all we have to say about that.
All of it?
Not all. Okay, so earlier you said that the movie was fantastic, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. I went with a group of friends, and there were maybe 3 of them that are like huge Harry Potter buffs. And then the others, they know of Harry Potter, they've seen the movies, they haven't really read the books.
Shameful.
But it's a little shameful, but whatever. But they really enjoyed themselves as well. So all over everybody, pretty much who I went with, really enjoyed the movie, and that's really good. I mean, again, I thought this movie really was fantastic, and it was a very great movie, and it's kind of the perfect prequel movie in a way.
But not really a prequel, because this was mentioned before by many people, reviewers, and the author herself, J.K. Rowling. She had said that this is not a prequel.
Exactly.
This is its own story.
Which is why I feel like even though it's not a prequel, you can kind of say it is almost. Mm-hmm. But it's the perfect prequel movie in the sense that you know the world already. You know this wizarding world. You're of course diving more deeper into it with this movie now, but you pretty much know everything coming into this movie, yet you know nothing, if you kind of know what I mean.
Absolutely. For me, I can say just really quickly before you continue that
no, go ahead.
I was a little apprehensive going into this movie.
And why is that?
I was apprehensive because I felt like the story was over. And so, like, whenever I feel like the story is over and there's nothing else that needs to be told, I always ask myself, okay, if you want to revisit it, what is it that you're going to bring to the table? And so, like, we get spoiled now. And I say this because of Pixar. Sure. Pixar has always been somebody that's been very hard on the money on if we're going to do a sequel, if we're going to tell another story, we have to make sure it's the best story. Little bit of fun fact trivia for you, Josh. Are you aware that the Toy Story trilogy, Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, has a perfect 100... Actually, no, I take that back. Toy Story 3, last I checked, was 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Toy Story 2 is 100%. Toy Story 1 is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, just 1% off. I feel like I should create a Rotten Tomatoes account just to help it.
I'm pretty sure it can, but like that is unheard of. That's something that does not happen. And so, but other stories, or other movies, just in general, you see something, I'm gonna run this into the ground until it's over, and it can't breathe any more life. So, for me, watching the last Harry Potter movie, I knew that it was over. And when they started saying that they were going to make another book and it was going to be a play, I was like,
Right.
are you sure? And I bought the book and I'm reading it now and I'm having difficulty, but we'll get back after that, because I completely derailed you. You were saying,
No, I mean, I was just gonna finish up by saying that this movie kind of surprised me. I thought it was gonna be just like okay, like it was just gonna be, it was just gonna be an alright movie. And I really really enjoyed myself. And they've already been greenlit for 4 other films,
oh,
which
that
is
is the best
insane to
part.
me that it was greenlit that quickly. But I mean, after seeing this movie, I can understand why. Like, it laid foundation for what's to come, which is really really exciting and cool stuff. But it also had its own really good story within this first movie, and again, I just thought it was really really good, and I had so much fun watching it. So that's my take on it. What's
Yeah.
yours?
Well, I know that it was originally supposed to be a trilogy. I remember reading that, and it quickly changed to 5 movies. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay really with whatever they did, but getting echoing what I said before, I had expected to be some issues with the movie because I just didn't see how they could make a movie. And so I was glad going in because I didn't want to, again, when I go into a movie, I never have like high expectations. And so I found this movie extremely charming.
Sure.
Um, the titles rolled, and as a matter of fact, the funny thing is that I walked into the movie theater because I went after work, and I went in and I asked the patron at the theater. I said, "I'd like to buy a movie ticket." She goes, "Okay, what would you like to see?" And I said, "Oh, Harry Potter, please." And she, you know, she kind of shook her head. She said, "What?" I'm like, "Harry Potter." And she's like, we don't we don't have that." So I said, "Harry Potter, Harry Potter." Oh, and I had to correct myself, and I said, "I'm sorry, Fantastic Beasts." Because that's how I was going into the movie thinking that
Sure.
this was another Harry Potter movie.
Right.
And I was very wrong. I was very wrong. And I guess we can say that we're in spoiler territory
Uh,
here.
we're we're gonna go heavy into spoilers, so yeah.
Okay, great. There was name dropping.
One more time. So once again, anyone who's listening, spoilers from this point forward, and spoilers go.
Okay. There was some heavy name dropping.
Yeah.
One by the name of the magnificent Albus Dumbledore.
Yes.
And I gotta admit, I kind of squealed. There was that moment I was like, "Oh yeah, this is
There's a
it."
number of name drops that I kind of squealed over. Dumbledore being one of them. Later
Mm-hmm.
on in the movie, you hear Lestrange, and I'm like, you
Uh-huh.
just automatically think of Bellatrix, and you kind of want to
Uh-huh.
slap her in the face.
Yep. Oh
Um,
man.
and then, of course, the big baddie of the movie, Grindelwald. You hear that name too.
Yes, you do hear
Well,
that name.
actually, that's the first name you read during the opening credits when they're going through all the different newspapers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You see Grindelwald, and then immediately, at least I did immediately because I know a lot more about Harry Potter than I care to admit.
Um, I know the things that I choose to know, if that makes sense. Like I don't
Sure.
fill my head with all of the, but I do realize that there are some interesting connections.
Yeah, so Grindelwald and Albus Dumbledore, they kind of explored that briefly in the Deathly Hallows book.
Mm-hmm.
They used to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
They when they were growing up, and then Dumbledore took one way and Grindelwald took another after an event happened. And that event was when Dumbledore's sister, I believe, was murdered or was killed. And then Dumbledore went one way and Grindelwald went the other. And again, you kind of got a hint of that in the Deathly Hallows book, but then it looks like this series now with, Grindelwald being introduced. It looks like this is going to be the story of Grindelwald's, not his rise, because I guess he's already risen in this portion of the story.
Sure.
But it's going to go all the way to his defeat, pretty much. So this is going to be like the Grindelwald arc, kind of how the Harry Potter films and books were the Voldemort arc.
Not all wizards are good, Harry. Not all wizards are good.
Exactly.
Some of them go bad.
I'm very excited.
I gotta say, it was a little slow at first, like
Sure.
the titles rolled. They started showing Grindelwald. I was like, okay, name sounds familiar, but I'm trying to treat this like its own thing. And so, the montage of the paper news clippings, which kind of felt like I was watching an iPhone commercial with all the live photos that just kept playing over and over again.
Hey, Harry Potter did it first.
Hey, they did. Or they inspired Apple to do live photos. But in any case, it kept going. Probably a little too much in my opinion.
It was for a little bit, yeah.
And you see the blonde mop top hair, with the shaved sides. And I'm like, okay, still have no idea what's going on, but I'm giving it a chance, if you will.
Sure.
And you're introduced to Newt Scamander, played by Eddie Redmayne, and I gotta say, like, he is quirky all the way throughout the movie. Like,
and I loved it.
Yeah, he doesn't let up, and I was like, okay, he's all right. I'm willing to accept him as my main character, but something good has to happen in order for me to be on board. And so that he walks into New York, and things start happening. The whole, the briefcase is his own character, which I really loved. And, he's like, oh, we're going to get you home soon. And I'm like, oh, I totally thought that this was going to be just one creature inside the bag. And then you see a creature kind of pop out when he appears in front of the bank. And I'm like, okay, so he's trying to get the little guy somewhere. And then, and it's just like, it's that avalanche that just keeps coming. And that's when I started getting on board with it, because Kowalski, played by Dan Fogler, which I remember from Balls of Fury. Balls of Fury. He, listen, I can say the guy can act. I will say that. He probably stole the show for me.
He was great. I was wondering how they were going to have, how he was going to be portrayed in the movie as a muggle. Oh, I'm sorry. We're in America.
Yes.
As a nomad.
Exactly.
Going around with everybody else. So I thought he was handled very, very well. So I thought he was hilarious. He was I guess he was the audience character in that he was the one being explained everything to and stuff like that.
Taking the role of Harry Potter, who was new to the wizarding world in the first years.
Exactly. So he kind of played that portion for us. So whenever, something new came on the screen, they explained it to him, but that was,
their way of explaining
it to us. Exactly. Yeah.
But he did an amazing job. I think everyone did their part. Sure. And, the slow, unveiling as everything kind of changes. There were a lot of parts. It was a very thick kind of movie, but at no point did I felt like I was losing the plot. Newt was on a mission, and he bumps into Kowalski, and they switch cases, which I really thought that was going to happen inside the bank, but it happened outside the bank. And I don't know why, I watched one trailer once, and I didn't really pay too much mind to it, but I really thought that Kowalski was going to be a bad guy. Like, he was going to be the guy that outs, the wizarding or the magic world. And I found him very endearing. I found the whole movie kind of very endearing. And then, him not knowing what was inside of his case lets, monsters out. And so these fantastic beasts. And so, now they're on a mission to go find them. And then we get introduced to Colin Farrell, who plays Graves,
Right.
who's one of the chief Aurors that works in the wizarding government that's there. It was all good, man. It was all really, really good. And, like I said, now this is actually the first time in 8 movies now where we actually get to see American actors, which I thought was
Correct.
great.
Yeah.
That's not something that happens. I mean, that was a parade of British stars, any of the Harry Potter movies that you had ever seen.
Yeah.
Um, but Credence, can we talk about Credence for a second?
You mean the Flash?
Yeah. So I was watching that movie, and there was a good minute where I was eyeballing the screen. By the way, asterisk to the side. Did you see the movie in IMAX?
I did not see an IMAX. I only
Did
saw it in regular.
Regular. Okay, I saw it in IMAX.
Okay.
And we talked about this before with Doctor Strange, how it was worth the experience.
Sure.
This absolutely worth the experience. But I sat there in my comfort, my comfy, reclining chair.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, I have seen this man before.
Sure.
Where has he been? And I have only seen him, who goes by the name of Ezra Miller. I've only seen him in the Justice League trailer.
Is that the only place you've seen him before?
I mean, I'm sure I've seen him in other places, but in recent memory, that's I just saw him, in the trailer. I mean, I may have been watching it the previous week or the week before, but I'm looking at him and I'm like, he looks like he's about to start electrocuting himself. But he did a great job, and there was the whole bait and switch, like you don't really know, is he a squib? For those who are listening, if you don't know Harry Potter terminology, a squib stands for somebody who's born from magic ancestry but doesn't have any powers.
Right.
So there's a few squibs that we see in the Harry Potter world. Credence is not a squib. He is the dude. You don't want to mess with that guy at all.
You definitely don't.
But yeah, he did a great job. I loved Queenie's character. Madame Pickery, I thought she was great. The only part that I thought was very out of place was John Voight. Like I know his character, he played the father of a man who was killed. I get all that, but I'm like, do we need John Voight though?
I don't know. I like John Voight as an actor, so it was a little jarring to see him there. I'm like, oh, John Voight's here. Okay, sure.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like like you said, it didn't need to be John Voight, but because it was John Voight, it was just like, oh, you're here. Okay, cool.
Unless John Voight becomes a bigger character later.
I mean, he could. You never know.
You never know.
There are 4 more of these movies coming.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And then we have to talk about the last. I have a feeling that you knew. I kind of knew, but like I said, I went in knowing nothing.
Sure.
Colin Farrell will not be appearing in any more movies. Is that correct? Do you know for sure?
I mean, I don't know if. Well, I mean, so here's the thing: we don't know what happened. If there is a real Graves, or if he was literally just made up by Grindelwald. Because you never know. It could be like a Mad Eye Moody type thing where Mad Eye was tied up while, Barty Crouch Jr. was going around pretending to be Moody. It could be something like that. So Graves could be alive, or we don't know if Graves was just made up completely by Grindelwald. We don't know.
So we're probably going to start talking about like Harry Potter stuff after the quick review that we had, because I mean, I feel like we both liked it. I didn't really have any qualms about it.
Well, before we go into more like Harry Potter stuff, like what were some of your favorite moments of the movie that you remember?
Favorite moments is the Grindelwald reveal.
Okay.
Because a part of me wants to say that I did expect it, but another part of me didn't expect it. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be good.
Sure.
And so Yeah, I mean, there was this whole, segment, for the last part of the movie where Credence is kind of, revealed to be, I forget the terminology of the black, magic, um, ball of emotion that's never addressed, that
Right.
becomes its own thing. Um, it starts moving into a place of uncertainty, like, what's going to happen? Because if this is a story that happens before the time of the Harry Potter, stories take place, I know for a fact that the people that exist in Harry Potter 1 don't know magic as a whole, and they're able to keep that balance. And at the end of this, Fantastic Beast movie, you kind of wonder, like, people are seeing things. Like, how are they going to fix this?
Right.
So it really had me at the edge of my seat because I was really wondering, like, how are they going to maintain that balance? And so, yeah, the reveal at the end, with Grindelwald, um, Kowalski's ending, with him, getting his, that was a really touching moment. Like,
Yeah, I got actually really sad during that part. I was like, oh no, no, they're gonna do something to make him, like, not forget or whatever it is.
mhm.
And then he walks into the rain, and I'm like, oh no, he's actually gonna lose his memory. No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and I mean, there's another character we're forgetting in its entirety, Tina, played by Catherine. I want to say her name right. It's Waterston. Waterston. That's it.
Sure.
And I thought she was awesome. I mean, she played the role perfectly to a T. Um, somebody who, tried to do too much, kind of overreached, but still wants to do good.
Right.
Yeah, everyone, even John Voight, who was kind of there for no reason, everybody did their part. I really liked the movie as a whole. I didn't, I would give that an A for sure.
Sure. Sure. And I'm just gonna bring up my favorite parts because we're talking about this movie, in terms of in terms of what it means to the Harry Potter world and stuff like
Mm,
that. But we're kind of forgetting the name of the movie, which is Fantastic Beasts.
mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to talk about some of my favorite moments with those beasts.
Yes,
The Niffler, the platypus-looking thing,
yes, yes.
hilarious. When he
Love that little guy.
when he's in the bank vault and he's like holding him and moving him so he can get all the stuff out of his little pouch, and like half a bank falls out.
Yes.
I was dying of laughter throughout that scene. That was so great. And then he causes more ruckus in the what is it, that jewelry shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just running after him, breaking everything along the way, trying to catch him.
Yeah,
It was, oh
Kowalski
my god,
really kind of made that scene too. He's like, just like, I didn't, hands up, I didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything. They went that way. That was so great. And then speaking of Kowalski, he has an amazing, amazing time with oh god, what's the name of the it was like a
A
rhino. The
rhino looking beast
Is it
in
the
the zoo.
eruptment?
I think so. I'm bad with all of these names. I
I,
usually have to read it before I can
yeah,
determine.
I think it was called the eruptment. Or it was the mating dance that he does with that thing. Oh my god, it was him being chased all over Central Park was so great.
I have to
Ugh.
say, I did get a little, like, I got confused at one point during that part of the movie because I just remember, the Niffler getting dragged away by Newt.
Yes.
And, you know, the police come in and they say hands up and they're pointing all their guns at him. And then I see a lion and I'm like, is that a real lion or is that a beast posing as a real lion?
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing too. I'm like, wait, that looks like a normal lion.
And then there was like an ostrich that started running through after that.
Yeah,
And so I was like, oh, they went to a zoo.
yeah,
This is only going to get worse.
yeah.
Whenever somebody does something well, I always kind of say to myself, okay, did this person get lucky? Did they just fall? Or did they just have a lot of help being able to kind of piece together this wonderful story. I'm always very conscious about that.
Sure.
But it just really felt authentic to me. I never felt like once that any of the characters were pushed onto me. Everybody had their, I say this often because there are some people who have these fantastic roles and they don't live up to their part. Either they don't act it well, or is the part isn't just written well for them.
Hmm.
And I just feel like everybody was even, and everybody passed the baton, performed their lines. I never felt like Credence was there for no reason. Second Salem, that whole segment where, these were witches that were ostracized because they were real witches who were practicing. Like, I thought, I was kind of waiting to see how that all went down. And, when their backstory was explained, I was in awe. I was in shock and awe as that whole movie kind of, revealed itself. So bravo, J.K. Rowling. Really, I mean, it's amazing to me.
Yeah, no, it was very, very good, and I'm excited to see the rest of them, and I'm excited to see how this expands, the Harry Potter universe, um, going forward.
Yeah, because admittedly, I went back and I started watching Harry Potter 1, and Newt is mentioned by name as a very important wizard that wrote the book, and that it's a textbook. So I'm wondering this. I'd love for you to share this. Your thoughts with me. But what do you think? Do you think that as she's writing the screenplay for these movies, do you think she's also going to write a book?
I don't know. I would hope that she does. I would read it because,
Hell yeah, I would
um,
read it.
especially after seeing the movie, I was like, yeah, no, I would definitely read a full blown book,
Mm,
based on this for sure. I know that there's some type of book out there already, because I was at Barnes and Noble a little while ago, and there's like when you walk in, there's like a nice little Harry Potter section,
mm,
like a table dedicated to Harry Potter,
mm-hmm,
and they have all the books. They have like the newer, like they will have them with the updated covers. Which,
mm-hmm.
by the way, I'm not a fan of the updated covers. Can I just say that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, you can.
I'm not a fan of the book covers that they have now. I prefer the old covers, but I guess that's just because I've known those covers for so long. So I'm not a huge fan of the new covers, but anyway. So they have that there. They have like pop figures, and then they have like a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them book, which is pretty much, I guess, it's the textbook version, like the textbook that Harry would read in school.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also have like a Quidditch one that you can read too. So they're not exactly like a full fledged book, but there's something on it. But if Miss Rowling were to write a full book based on this, I would probably read it for sure.
Oh man, I would look forward to that tremendously. But let's talk
Yeah,
a little bit about Harry Potter stuff in general and see how this movie kind of fits into the lore.
sure.
Um, I have not visited Harry Potter in a really long time. However, I am reading the newest book, Book 8. Um, I Are you reading that book?
I finished the first half.
Yes.
I have not started the second half yet, but from what I've read in the first half, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of fun because obviously seeing Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, and Rupert Grint as these characters for so long, I'm imagining them older now in this book
Mm.
as themselves, and it's having I'm having a lot of fun with it from what I read so far.
I I'm having I'm not saying I'm having issues with it. It's clearly not a book. And so
Well, it's a screenplay,
it's a screenplay.
like it's literally written like a screenplay too. So
Right.
it's not written like a traditional book. So I had a little trouble at first reading it, but once you kind of fill in things yourself,
Mm.
with like your own imagination,
Hmm.
I felt like it went a lot smoother.
I really hope that. I mean, I don't know if it's even possible because I mean they blow through years like crazy,
Oh, they do.
and I don't know if I like that. I'm like I get what they're trying to do. They're
Yeah.
trying to tell a story about the children of Harry Potter, but it's not what I'm used to, and that's selfish of me. I should really give it a chance. But I'm hoping, who knows, maybe in the future, a book like that can be written. Because and then there are some parts in it where I'm like, I'll read a paragraph and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome, and then it starts to get slow again, and I don't know if that's because somebody else is also kind of writing it,
Well,
and
it was in conjunction with two people, wasn't it? It's not just her.
it's not just her; it's the playwrights whose names I forget.
I'm
But
staring at the book like right in front of me. I kind of want to get up to go see, but at the same time, not really.
no, don't worry about it. You leave that book there. Anyway, I, I'm sure the book is good. It's just, again, not what I'm used to. I read the books um in a very interesting way, because I don't know, maybe you can share with me, your first time that you got introduced to Harry Potter.
Sure. I think I heard about it from friends of mine who were reading it because I had two friends in elementary school or middle school reading stuff like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And then I think eventually one day they brought in Harry Potter, like the original one. Sorcerer's Stone is how it was called in America. It was originally called Philosopher's Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Was that just UK or was that everywhere else?
Philosopher's Stone was UK. We got the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah, and was that like that for everywhere else? Like the Philosopher's Stone is only in the UK.
I feel like that may have been a couple of other countries.
Okay. In any case, I just wanted to know how many different people got philosophers or sorcerers. Which I don't know why they changed it, by the way, because I wouldn't have minded it being called Philosopher's Stone.
Well, it's
But
strange because they did mention philosopher, and alchemy was mentioned in that book very, very briefly.
right,
So it makes sense to me why they would call it the philosopher's stone
right.
instead of the sorcerer's stone. But sorcerer's stone also fits, so
Yeah, they both fit. I mean, it's
it's a
fine.
moot point for me.
Yeah, same here. But I don't know. It could have been called whichever one. I would have been fine with it.
Sure.
But yeah. So I think a friend of mine had that book, and then I was like, "Hey, can I take a look at it real quick?" And then I kind of read like the first few pages, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of fun." So then I went home and I asked my mom, I'm like, "Hey, there's this book. I kind of want to go get it."
Mm.
And she was like, "You want to read a book? You don't want to play a game? Yes, let's go get it right now." Because I honestly I don't really read that much, like book wise. I
That's a
literally
shame.
yeah, I really should read a lot more than I do.
Yeah.
But what I definitely do read the Harry Potter series because I have every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely read that series for sure. And I read other little tiny books here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But Harry Potter is really one of the big series that I read, and then I would pretty much from that point forward try to get every single one of them the day they came out. My sister had her um, Amazon account for like I think it was from book 4 or 5 onward,
Mm-hmm.
and I would tell her I'm like, hey, can you order this book for me? And then Amazon would have it for you like the day of. So that's what I did for most of them, and then the
Okay.
other ones I would go to the bookstore and buy, of course.
Right.
Fun little story about my Chamber of Secrets book.
Okay.
So I have I have part 1, part 5, 6, and 7 hardcover.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2, 3, and 4 softcover. I never bought the hardcover versions.
Really?
Yeah, so I want to go back and buy the hardcover versions. I just haven't.
Okay.
So I had 2, 3, and 4 softcover.
Mm-hmm.
When I had my puppy, when she was like, I think I don't know, maybe 2, 3 months old,
Mm-hmm.
I had left my Chamber of Secrets book on my bed,
Oh no.
and I came home, and Chamber of Secrets was in ruins.
Ah.
So, and the funny thing was, I never rebought Chamber of Secrets. Like, I never rebought the book.
That would wreck me.
But when I went to go buy Cursed Child over the summer,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I should probably get the second book again because right now on my shelf, it's literally one 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I
Right.
didn't have 2.
Right.
So I bought the hardcover version of 2, and so
Okay.
I have that now. It's just weird now because you know how the pages over years they kind of become yellowish.
Uh-huh.
So it's like you see the first book like all yellowish, you see the other books all yellowish, and then 2 is all nice and shiny.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think I'm going to be in a situation where I'm going to have to rebuy the series because how I got into it was unique. And this is how this series, the movie series and the book series, actually changed the way I kind of approach things. Because I know many people who are watching movies, before a movie comes out, they'll say, I'll go buy the book, I'll read it, and then I'll watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was, kind of different for me at the time. So when I remember the first time I heard Harry Potter, my sister was reading that book. And I didn't really think anything of it. I just knew that that was something that you had to read for school. I left that alone. She had told me about it in passing, and I never really thought much to it. And so I remember the movie started coming out in theaters. I think it was like 2001, correct?
2001 was the Sorcerer's Stone, yes.
First, yeah, the first movie. So I remember the first movie came out, and I didn't see it. And the second movie came out, didn't see it. And I think I saw the first one. It had to have been on video because I didn't see that one in theaters. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Didn't really think too much of it. I was like, this was just an awesome movie. Great.
Right.
And then somebody told me about the sequel. And, the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the movie came out. And he's like, do you want to see the video? And I was talking to, a bunch of friends, and they were big Harry Potter fans. And I
Sure.
said, okay, I'll watch it, whatever. It's a movie. I love movies. And so I watched it and I said, this is remarkably boring.
Hmm.
And didn't really pay too much. Like, it seemed a little bit better because, I was knowing more about the characters. Then I saw the trailer for Prisoner of Azkaban.
Hmm.
So I watched the trailer. And again, I was just watching trailers because I love trailers. Again, we talk about this all the time. Trailers are much different from the movie. So I always love watching trailers to see what that trailer can bring to the table.
Sure.
I was instantly hooked. Something wicked this way comes. Yeah, give me more, please.
Yeah.
So I bought, tickets to see that. It wasn't opening weekend. It was like a couple of, days after the fact. And I watched it and I said, oh man, I have so many questions. Why is it a stag? What happens to everybody else after this story? Like, I just wanted to know, and everyone started like chuckling at me. I was like, why are you laughing? They're like, these questions are answered in the book. And I said, oh, okay, I'm going to go read this book. So I went to the library, go figure, the library. I went to the library and I got the first one, and I read that book in a couple of days because I was, busy doing schoolwork and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I read the second one and I said, oh, this book is way better. Way better than the movie.
Yeah.
The story is still bad, but it's still way better than the movie. And then it came time for 3. So 3 came out, and I bought the book, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, this is happening exactly like I saw it in the movie. This is awesome, except for some other parts, where Ron's rat happens to be revealed as the villain in it, and Lupin reveals himself to be the werewolf, and Sirius Black. Like, all of it, I'm just remembering reading the book after I seen the movie, and I said, now this is the part where I can sometimes get into arguments with like hardcore Harry Potter fans. There's a part in the book that I didn't like versus the movie. The scene where they go into the Shrieking Shack, and Harry, Ron, and Hermione are there, and Sirius Black is like, I'm going to get you, Harry Potter. And yeah, I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Sure.
But it kind of looks like Sirius is like a murderous lunatic, and he wants to just kill Harry Potter. That's not how it goes in the book. And you remember this.
Yep.
How it goes in the book is just like, I'm not after you, Harry. I'm after the rat. Like, just calm down.
Right.
And I'm like,
he's like trying to reassure him. Is like, hey, it's not you I'm trying to kill. I'm trying to kill this damn rat.
Yeah. And I liked the way it was presented in the movie because, the pacing was just a little bit better. So that was like one of the few books that I have ever read where the movie was slightly better than the book, slightly, just some parts.
Yeah.
And so I finished the book and I was like, man, that was awesome. And I said, the fourth one's already out. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know what to do now. Like, should I buy the book? Should I wait? I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for the fourth movie. So I said, okay, I got the book. Josh, I kid you not. I'm not a quick reader. I do read. I'm not a quick reader, but this I read the book in a day.
Wow.
I read that whole book, and that's a big book.
Oh, fourth one is huge. What is that, like 500
Yeah, something like
pages?
that.
Something
I
like
I remember waking up. I had the book next to my nightstand. I woke up. I started reading. My mother called me at the time. I went down, started eating, read, 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 read. A couple of hours later, because it was a day off, I didn't have anything to do, so I
that.
started
Sure.
reading, reading, reading
So you just read Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire all day.
all day, all day. And I'm looking at the time. I'm like, it's 7 o'clock. I'm almost done with this book. This is strange. So I'm reading the book, and at the end, I'm crying my eyes out.
Right, of course, yeah.
Crying my eyes out, because that's when they reveal, Voldemort, you know, um, a certain someone dies,
Oh, just say
and
his name.
Cedric.
All right.
Cedric, yeah. Cedric dies, and I'm like, I was not expecting that. That's unnecessary. He doesn't need to die. But he's died. He died,
He
and
did
Voldemort
need to
is.
die.
He did need to die, but it was like I wasn't. Which, by the way, that whole maze sequence was unbelievable. Like the Sphinx with the quiz that he had to give him inside, like he had to
Yeah.
answer questions, like that was like I was in it. I was like rooting for these characters. How J.K. Rowling writes really immerses you into the whole experience. And so I read the book and I'm like, that was awesome. It's still to this day my favorite book.
I was about to say Goblet of Fire is my favorite of the series.
Favorite, hands down.
Yeah.
Other books get close, like Prisoner of Azkaban, very, very good book. I want to say the last one, very, very good book. Some action sequences that can be topped either in the movie or the books.
Yeah.
But then came the movie. Oh man, what a ruined experience. How I imagine Harry Potter flying around and defeating the Hungarian Horntail
Sure.
happened much differently in my head versus the book. So I got there and I said, why would I ever do this to myself? Why would I ever read the book and then watch the movie? And that's when I decided I'm only going to watch the movie, then read the book, because I'm always going to get a better version
Sure.
every time. And so, Order of the Phoenix, Half Blood Prince, and the last one, I'd say the standout moment, amongst other things, because that book did so many good things. Yeah, there was a part of the last book, um, The Deathly Hallows, where, the trio, Harry and friends, escape and they go into a diner. And there was something about the way Rowling kind of like painted, the environment where, like the lights were flickering. And I
Sure.
was like, oh man, this is terrible. Like, I feel petrified right now.
Right.
How she was able to do that. They kind of got that in the movie, but my imagination was a little bit better, admittedly. And oh my God, it's just, I think I'm going to have to start reading these books again.
I've actually been wanting to go back and reread them because I've marathoned the movies multiple times.
Hmm.
But I've never really gone back to read the books again.
Hmm.
And I kind of really want to redo that. You know what I'll probably do? I'll probably finish Cursed Child, and then I'm probably gonna reread through all of them from Sorcerer's Stone all the way back through Cursed Child.
You know, if we do that, we have to figure out how to do like a book review, like a revisit, book review, because I've
Sure,
been dying to do like a book review for a while, and I think
we can do that.
this would be like the perfect opportunity because there's so many different things that can be observed and reviewed, and I don't know. There are certain things that I've seen in my head that I talk with another Harry Potter fan, and they don't really see the same thing that I'm seeing, and that's the beauty of it.
Right.
Um, Ron's mother versus Bellatrix Lestrange was the scene that stuck in my head at
I
the
mean
very.
that was so much better in the book than it was in the movie, but
Oh, that
for
was
obvious reasons they had to make it a little bit shorter.
stressful, though. Very
But
stressful.
yeah, but that fight, that was a really good fight.
Ah, man, what a good fight that
Um,
was.
just to go off of some of the favorite things, I kind of I mentioned the fourth book is my favorite. And the fourth movie isn't my favorite by any means.
No,
But however, there are a lot of cool things that I loved about the fourth movie.
the ball,
I kind of wish they had a little bit more stuff from the book in there.
like.
I kind of like the whole house elf stuff. That story.
True. Yeah, I
I
do
really
kind
like that stuff that they cut all that out. Like you said, the whole the trivia stuff with the Sphinx and everything in the maze, they cut all that out.
of. Hmm.
A lot of the a lot of the tournament stuff they cut out. And then of course the entire Quidditch match at the beginning of the book, they cut all
Oh
that out.
my God, what a good
I was
match!
I was wondering even at the time when that movie came out, I was like they're probably gonna cut this out, and then once they got to that part, I was like, yep, called it.
Yep.
Um, but uh, but yeah, so I mean, like I said, the fourth book was my favorite, but not my favorite movie. Um,
What was your favorite
the
movie?
my favorite movie is probably um, it's probably Deathly Hollows Part One.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Deathly Hollows Part One.
Really,
However, one of my favorite scenes from any of the Harry Potter movies is actually from the fifth movie.
really.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
I don't know you at all.
I know. Sorry. The fifth movie has probably my favorite scene in any of the movies, and that is the scene where where Dumbledore and Voldemort fight. Um, I love that scene.
I love that scene. Um, I had issues with that movie. Not big ones.
Like I
Not
said,
not.
it's not my favorite movie, but I just love that scene in particular.
I mean, because they're all so very good,
Yeah,
and the movies do the best that the movies can do. And the tone changes, and this tone really changed in the third movie, which is when I started getting interested in it.
I'm gonna say something about the third movie in a second. So, but continue.
I would say that my favorite movie that really gets it like perfectly is probably the first one. First one gets it perfect. There's no mistakes in that.
Sure.
They Harry Potter lives in the cupboard under the stairs. You know, is in the care of people that seem to care less. Has a stepbrother. I don't even know if you can call him a stepbrother, but he plays the role of a stepbrother. Dudley, who is
Well,
just
he's his cousin.
his cousin, right? He I- that whole section, like if you're reading the book and you're watching the movie, it's just like we're not messing this up. We're taking
Right.
what happens in the book, we're putting it on the screen, and that's
Yep.
it. But they get the music right. They get the magic is perfect. Malfoy when he's first introduced, all of it's so good. All of it is so amazing, and they capture it again. They capture the same magic, and they make a second movie, and it's unfortunate because I just didn't. I thought two was the weakest story out of all of them.
That's fair.
And that's just me.
That's fair to say. Um, so this is probably the part where you're either gonna hate me
I won't hate you, Josh.
or the Twitter followers will hate me, whatever it is.
I'll come to your defense.
So I told you what my favorite movie was.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to preface this. This is movie wise, not book wise. Book
Good
wise,
preference.
my least favorite is probably Chamber of Secrets. However, movie wise,
I think I already know what you're gonna say. Let me see. Go ahead.
my least favorite is Prisoner of Azkaban.
Somehow I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
How is that the least favorite?
So it's probably my top 3 book wise because I really really loved Prisoner of Azkaban the book.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie, for whatever reason, it is my least favorite one to watch.
But is
And
it? So let me ask you this:
it has nothing to do with the story.
is
Has
it?
nothing to do with the acting.
But does it follow the same toe as like Thor: The Dark World, where it's like
In
it's
terms of
just
what?
as in it's a okay movie, but there's just other movies that are just better than it.
Not really. The trouble I have with that movie is the cinematography and the way that it's shot and edited. I
Really?
I really don't like how every other scene freaking fades to black. I really don't like how certain shots are done. It's I don't know. It's just the way that movie was shot to me. I just don't. I don't know. I don't get it. Every single time I watch that movie, I'm like, it feels like somebody went into iMovie and edited that movie.
Oh, stop
Honestly,
it! No, stop it. See now.
with the fade outs and all that stuff. I
No,
mean,
see, I was following you all the way through until you said that phrase. That movie was
it's
not
not all
edit.
right. It's not that bad, but I mean, literally every other scene is a fade out.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, but Harry. I mean, so I'm imagining the scenes that you're talking about is when Harry Potter is actually passing out. That movie was directed by Alfonso Cuarón,
Right,
who's
and
res-
he's an amazing director.
who's responsible for doing Gravity with Sandra Bullock. So,
I
like,
know.
I don't know what you're talking about at this point. Like
That's
every
what
single
I'm
time,
saying. I don't understand it either because
that's
I know he's an amazing director. Don't get me wrong. He's an awesome director. But every single time I watch that movie, I don't know. Like I like again, I like the story. I like the acting, I like the characters. Everything's great. It's
the
just
time
the way
tuner,
that it's
dude.
shot.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure if you and I were to watch it together, um, every single time it fades to black, it's probably when Harry Potter is like passing out. Because I know the scenes that you're talking about in the beginning.
It's not only in those scenes though. There's others.
Which ones?
So it happened. So not only does it happen when he passes out, there's also fade out shots when he's talking to Lupin. Um, there's fade out shots when it doesn't happen a lot, but they're noticeable. When he's talking to Lupin when he's practicing, when he finally gets the Patronus done for the first time.
Doesn't he pass out after that?
He does not pass out. Well, he passes out during that, but then after he gets it right, it still fades out to black. Um, there was one more shot when he's not passed out that it happens. It's escaping me right now, but I know there's one more. But it's very noticeable to me, at least.
Hmm.
Very noticeable, and again,
And that's why it's your least favorite.
no, I told you it's also the cinematography and the way that it's shot. Just something about it was way. To me, it's a little distracting.
Over 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
I'd feel like I don't know you anymore.
yeah. Again, I love the director, and every single time I bring this up to people, they're like, "Are you kidding me?" They're like, "You do realize who directed it?" I'm like, "I understand who directed it."
Yeah.
But just because someone directed it doesn't necessarily means that the director of photography or whatever is just as good.
It's
Because
probably just the editor, honestly.
probably,
It's probably the editor.
it's probably the editor, probably.
There's, or who knows, the director said, this is a decision that I'm making to make sure that there's some consistency in the film. Because you also
Right.
need to make sure that there's that.
Right.
I don't know, man. That's the movie that got me into this whole thing.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said you were probably gonna hate me or something. But
I mean,
but
I can see how those parts can be a little jarring.
yeah.
But I will disagree with you on the iMovie editing part.
That was a little too much, I will say.
It's overreaching.
But every time that I marathon these movies, it's like, okay, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like I feel like I hit a bump when I see that, and it's when you're talking about that consistency. Like 1 and 2 were directed by Christopher Columbus. Mm-hmm. 3 was directed by
Alfonso Cuarón.
Goblet of Fire was directed by Mike Newell, and then 5 through Deathly Hallows Part 2 were directed by David Yates.
And who also did this latest movie.
Who also did Fantastic Beasts, yes. And he's going to do the rest of the Fantastic Beasts, from what I understand.
Thank God for consistency.
Right, and that's the thing that I'm about to bring up. I feel even though Columbus did the first 2 and Newell did the 4th one, I still feel like those are shot almost consistently. And then when you watch 3, it's completely different.
I'd argue that's when the game changes.
No, I mean 3 definitely is when things get darker. I mean, obviously there's no deaths yet until the 4th one. But I don't know. I feel like
3 changes everything. 3 is the part where the tone changes. They introduce Sirius Black, who has information, solid information over Dumbledore, over his history, and he can't be with him. And that's the part when Harry Potter learns to be strong. Which is also something that I really appreciate. There's a lot of things that happened in 3 that I just appreciate as a segment of the series. So I can almost forgive, how 3 comes off slightly different, because it's almost like you have to have this radical shift. Because if you look at 1 and 2, and then you look at 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way on, 3 kind of sets the tone for the way the rest of the movie is supposed to look like. It does look a little bit colder. The last movies look a little bit not colder, but it kind of feels still. Like it kind of feels like almost like a painting that's faded.
Right.
Which kind of bothered me towards the end a little bit, just a little bit. But I got the reason why they needed to do that. Because you can't have this colorful, like, puppy dogs and rainbows and Voldemort's coming to class. Great.
Right, exactly.
I understand that, but 3 was responsible for so many things. And who knows, they were trying to find their footing, and they probably realized that Christopher Columbus was not going to be... I mean, who knows? Christopher Columbus is a genius as far as I'm concerned.
I know, he's great, but I mean, he executive produced that one.
He did.
So he was still part of the team.
Oh, absolutely. I wonder if he's still part of the team for this.
I don't think so. I think he stopped. I think either at 3 or 4. Because I don't think he was producer on any of the Yates movies.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you on this one. Only because
that's completely okay. I'm used to it at this point, because anybody who I talk to about the 3rd film, they're just like, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, we're gonna have to really have multiple Harry Potter episodes, as well as multiple Marvel episodes, and
multiple everything.
We have a lot of work ahead of us, but I think that's all we have for this episode. So what do you think?
Yeah, that's very good.
All right, so thanks so much for tuning in. I'll tell you what, if you like what we had to say, you can follow us on Twitter. I am at Chase Rockland, and Josh?
I am at JCA90. You can also find us at FGC Podcast or email us at freshgeekcontext@gmail.com.
You can also visit our website at Fresh Geek Context for past episodes. And lastly, if you could, please hit that subscribe button for us on iTunes. It goes a long way for us to know that you're listening. You can also go to the podcast section or the podcast app on your iPhone or iPad and share with your friends so they can be Fresh Geeks too. Everyone, aloha mora.
What?
What?
You're saying open the door.
Or I'm saying aloha mora. Yeah, like Hawaii. Aloha mora.
You're a dork.
A huge dork. Have a good night, everybody.
Expecto Patronum!
You're a dork.